Early voting is already underway for Minnesota's August 13th primary. One of the biggest contests is in the 5th Congressional District, where Representative Ilhan Omar is in a rematch with former Minneapolis City Councilman Don Samuels. Samuels almost beat Omar in the 2022 August primary. Omar won by about 2,500 votes. Now, the 5th District is overwhelmingly Democratic, and historically, the winner of that August primary easily wins in November. And the Congresswoman is with us now. Thank you so much for coming in.
Glad to be here with you.
You have been a big supporter of President Biden's. He's on your campaign literature that's getting mailed to people's houses. Your reaction to the debate, and should he, in your opinion, remain the nominee of the party?
Yeah, I mean, I really believe that most Americans, and you'll see that in the polls, truly believe that the president is our only chance to continue to defend reproductive rights, to make sure our democracy is intact, and to make sure that this criminal does not become the president of our country. And so we have to do everything that we can to make sure that we are pushing Biden across the finish line in November.
All right. I want to ask you about a controversy brought up by your opponent. Your husband has been accused in a civil lawsuit in California of defrauding a businessman there. Your opponent, Don Samuels, has suggested that perhaps you might have some knowledge of it. You are not mentioned in the lawsuit. But what would you like people to know about this? Because they've heard about it.
Yeah, it's also not a lawsuit of defrauding. It is a contract dispute. And I hope that they are able to resolve that soon, and that the friendship that my husband and his partners have remains intact.
All right. After the attack on October 7th by Hamas against the innocent Israelis, you posted on Twitter, what used to be known as Twitter, X, this tweet in which you condemned the attack. It is now a tweet that has been pinned at the top of your Twitter feed. So it's the first thing that people see. Yet people continue to criticize you for being anti-Semitic. Just the latest controversy seemed to be when you called some pro-Israeli protesters pro-genocide. And last week, your opponent labeled you as a Hamas pawn. What's your reaction?
Well, that's an Islamophobic trope, and I hope that Dan Samuels will remain classic and will refrain from eliciting that kind of language that has historically led to attacks on my life and my family's life, and attacks on so many other Muslims.
Yes,
exactly. And I do truly believe when people say, finish the job, wipe all Palestinians, kill all Muslims, that to me sounds very genocidal, and I don't think that we should allow that kind of language to be sustained. I think we should condemn when atrocities happen. I think it is important that we try to make sure all of our communities here in the United States feel protected and safe to be able to express themselves regardless of what their views are on what is happening in Gaza.
I know that the Netanyahu government has denied the accusation that this is a genocide. I know many people feel on the other side that it is. Is it a genocide?
I do believe that there have been so many folks who have examined it, whether it is UN investigators, whether it is human rights investigators, whether it is the ICJ and the ICC. The assessment is that there is genocide currently being carried against the people of Gaza, and we need to do everything that we can. We've seen oftentimes where people hesitate when the Rwandan genocide was happening or when the Bosnian genocide was happening, and then afterwards they say, oh, we wish we were able to take action, because once you say this is what we think is happening, it requires for you to take action. And I think for those of us here in the United States, it is our tax dollars that are implicated in this, and we don't want that on our conscience, and our humanity should not allow for this to continue to take place. You
and Representative Betty McCollum have introduced a bill to create an office, a federal office for missing and murdered Black women and girls. This is an issue that you feel has long been sort of blown over, not recognized. Tell us about what you hope to get from this.
Yeah, this is a bill modeled after the Office for Indigenous Murdered and Missing Women. We know that the Trump administration actually was able to get that done, and we're hoping that the Biden administration will be able to do it for the missing and murdered Black women and girls. Oftentimes we are small in the representation as far as population goes in the United States, but the numbers in regards to missing and murdered Black women and girls supersede others.
All right. You came very close to losing 2 years ago. You seem in a very different mode right now. You seem far more prepared. Your commercials are running all over the place. Your literature is going out. I understand you've got campaign operatives all over, not just Minneapolis, but the suburbs. Is that shift because you came so close to losing last time?
No, the shift, I think, is due to what is a priority. In 2022, our priority was getting the trifecta, protecting the constitutional seats that were held by Democrats, and making sure all of the resources that we had in the Fifth were devoted to that. This time, we don't have that problem, so we're devoting every single resource that we have in having a robust field and a communication strategy to make sure that we are maximizing and getting every single resident in the Fifth to hear about the great work that we have been doing with them and on their behalf, and making sure that they know that the August primary is on the 13th of August. Early voting is underway,
right now.
Yep, and that they can go out and vote and cast their ballot to make sure that we continue to do the work on behalf of them.
And you did get the Democratic nomination, DFL nomination on the first ballot this time.
Yeah, we were able to, secure it on the first ballot, which I think says a lot about how the constituents that we serve and we've been serving for 5 years feel about us.
All right, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.